Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Vibe with Kai podcast. It's your boy Kai, and today I want to talk to you about a very interesting experience that I had this week that involved a car accident, and I'm going to go into detail about how this incident not only changed my life, but it also validated a lot of things that I've been going through over the last couple of years. And I'm going to talk about how it really it really helped me understand that I'm actually on the right track. You go so often in your life not knowing whether you're going in the right direction or not, and you end up getting these tests along the way, and then you're like, wait a second, no, wait, I have been doing this the right way, and you end up being so proud of yourself because of the work that you've put into your mental health. And so I'm going to be talking all about that today, and I want to share this with you because I think that it's important to help all of you realize that we're often questioning ourselves. We're often really doubting ourselves and doubting our ability and doubting the work that we put into ourselves. But it's times like this, the times that I'm about to talk about today, that I'm just so proud of me. And it's not me being braggadocious or anything like that. I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but I am just proud of the work that I've put into all of this. It was a This whole situation was a scary situation. It was a enlightening situation, but it taught me the power of empathy. It taught me the power of patience, understanding, and just kind of putting yourself in the shoes of another person, even when you don't have to, even when everything that's happening is telling you to not do that, but you do it anyway, and you feel so much better because of it. That is what today's episode is all about. I'm going to tell you the story. I'm going to tell you about how it affected my life and how I'm going to use this information to move forward with my life. Okay, so with that said, let me kind of set the background for what was happening when this whole situation went down. Okay, so I'll lead off with this. I looked out the window and there was a car on top of my car. That there was a car on top of my car. Yeah. So let's set this situation up for you because this is important. So my mother lives about an hour north of me. She lives in Hamilton Township, New Jersey, which is in Mercer County, New Jersey. It's the town that I grew up in. So I'm very familiar with this town. I go visit her maybe like once or twice a week, mainly because she's divorced, she is retired, and she lives in this big old house by herself, right? And she's getting older. She's she's over 60 now, and she's in really good health, but she's getting older, and it's just her in this big old house. So I usually stop by about once or twice a week just to kind of help her out with some things around the house and everything like that. So what I'll do sometimes, I have a washer and dryer here at my house, but what I'll do sometimes is I'll bring my clothes that need to be cleaned. I'll bring that over to my mother's house, not so that she can do them. I do my own laundry, but I bring it over to her. That way I can spend time with my mom and do my laundry at the same time, right? It's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. So it's like a nice reason for me. I'm a mama's boy, if you can't tell already. I'm a huge mama's boy. So this is just a way for me to utilize my time to be productive and spend time with my mom, right? So I bring my laundry over to my mother's house, and it's just a normal night. I always do this. Bring it over. Now on this particular night, I typically try to get my laundry done the night before the morning, right? Because I always want to grab my laundry and then go to work right afterwards, because where I work is like maybe 15, 20 minutes away from my mom. On this night specifically, I did not get my laundry done when I wanted to. So I still had like a load of laundry that was left to dry in the morning. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I won't be able to go to work in the morning. What I'll do is I'll finish up my laundry in the morning and then I'll drive to work during my lunch break. No big deal. I have that kind of flexibility at my job. It works out perfectly. I have that kind of flexibility. I um doing my laundry, everything is going fine. I'm in the middle of a meeting at my job, and it's been like a crazy time at my job recently, and we've been going through like a lot of changes. So this meeting that I'm in is a very important meeting. So I'm sitting in this meeting, and all of a sudden I hear a loud crash outside. Now I'm in the living room. There's a window right behind me. I hear a loud crash, and I go to my coworkers. I'm like, I think something happened outside, and I peek out the window in the back, like behind me, and I see a car on top of my car. My car is parked in the street. My mom has a driveway, but she has two cars, so like the driveway is full, so I can't park in the driveway. So my car is on the street. So turn around, look out the window. I see a car on top of my car, and I say to my coworkers, "Oh my god, there's a car on top of my car. I think somebody got into an accident in front of my house." And so I'm like, I need to go. So I hop off the meeting. I hop off the meeting and I go outside to like assess the situation. Now, mind you, my initial thoughts on all of this is like, I'm frightened. I'm very scared because I don't know how bad the situation is. I don't like seeing. I'm one of those types of people. Like I can watch a horror movie, where like the bodies are being like mutilated and there's monsters and stuff like that. I can watch a horror movie, gruesome horror movie with no problem. But when it comes to real life stuff, I get really squeamish. Right? There was this one time I was driving and I saw a really bad accident, and the accident was like incredibly bad, and I saw some things that I didn't want to see, but I saw it, and just ever since then I was like, I don't want to see that because it was scarring. It was traumatic. So, of course, in my head, I see a car on top of my car, and I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no. And I'm freaking out. So I put my shoes on. I run outside. My mom, she comes running down the stairs because she heard it too. She was upstairs. She comes running outside with me. I see the car on top of my car, and I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. So as I'm approaching the situation, I see the person that was driving the car come around. Now, I don't know how he got out of the car because the car was like in a position in which it's not easy to get out. Like you can either climb out the passenger side to and climb over my car to get out, or you would have to like squeeze out from the driver's side. I don't know how he got out. But by the time I got out there, he's coming around. He's like really upset. And, like my neighbor, like when my mom's neighbors are coming out, like a bunch of people are coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? It's like chaos. Next thing you know, and I'm not going to put this person's information out there because it was a very traumatic situation. So I'm not going to go into detail about the people that got into this accident. This whole story is going to be about just me and my side of things, right? But I will tell you like certain things that happened because it's going to be important to the context of the entire story of how this all went down. Okay, so the person comes out of the car and there's chaos, and then next thing you know, I hear a woman down the street yelling towards the person that got out of the car. I'm like, what is going on? Person comes over. Come to find out, the person that got into the accident, that the guy was driving his girlfriend's car, get into an accident. She's upset, obviously, for obvious reasons, right? Now I'm upset because like my car is underneath of another car. We call the cops. Cops come over. Like when I tell you, like I wish I really don't want to go into detail putting out the other person's personal information in the situation because again, it was a very traumatic thing. So I'm going to be very, very like selective with the kind of stuff that I put out. But just know that since there was so much chaos going on, tempers were arisen. People were upset. She was upset because her boyfriend crashed the car. I was upset because my car was underneath of their car. The cops are there. And tempers flare. At one point, one of the people started saying something to my mom, and that upset me. So I lost my cool. I'm not the kind of person that loses my cool often. It really takes a lot for me to lose my cool, right? You could talk about me, you could talk about like the situation. You could talk about my neighbors, my friends, whatever. Don't talk about my mom. Don't say anything to my mom. I told you I'm a mama's boy, and you cannot do that. I will just lose it. This person says something to my mom, I lose it. We start yelling back and forth. The cops are there by this point, so we're just kind of like yelling. The cops are holding me back, holding her back. Just a thing. And I'm like, okay, I need to just walk away. At this point, I have not taken my medicine yet. Okay. So I go inside the house and I'm like, I need to calm down because me yelling is not going to do jack for this situation. Me yelling and screaming is not going to help this situation at all. So I need to remove myself from this situation for a minute and just go away because there's nothing that I can do in this current situation. The car's on top of my car. The cops are there handling the situation. There's nothing that I can do, right? Because I was already interrogated about what happened and all of that. So I'm gonna go. I go inside and I calm myself down. Once I go inside, I take my medicine and I kind of like reset. I grabbed some water. I took some deep breaths and I said to myself, Kai, you yelling, screaming, being upset for any reason right now, while valid, does not help the situation. You have every reason to be upset right now. Your car might be totaled. There's a person talking about your mom. The cops are there. There's just utter chaos all around, right? Kai, your feelings are valid. Now that your feelings are valid, you need to understand what comes next. What's going to happen next? What are you going to do with those feelings? How is it going to help the situation? So I take a couple minutes, take some deep breaths inside my mom's house. My mom's still outside. I walk back outside. And when I walk back outside, I see the man who was driving the car talking to the cops. And I see the girlfriend sitting on the curb crying, bawling her eyes out. I don't know if the Kai from 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago would have done this, but the Kai of today did. I see this woman, she's crying, she's very upset. And I said, there is something I can do right now. There is something I can do right now to help this situation, and that is to help her. I have every reason to be upset right now with this entire situation, but there's nothing I can do about the cars. But there is something that I can do about the people involved. I am an empath by nature. And I saw her sitting there and I don't know what came over me, but I'm like, I'm going to go talk to her. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to go. I'm going to sit next to her and I'm just going to talk to her. And I did. I sat next to her and I said, hey, listen, I'm sorry for yelling at you. You know, this is really tough for me. How are you doing? And she looked at me and she was explaining that she had been carless for 3 years of her life. And she had saved up enough money to get this car that's now on top of my car. So like, it was at that point that it really dawned on me, man, yes, she's upset. Yeah, I'm upset. But there are just things that I did not know about that is making the situation for her bad too. And even though I'm upset and this kind of derails some things in my life, there are just extended circumstances that I was not aware of. And I need to understand that other people are going through other stuff too. And that's just the empath coming out in me. Now, here's the thing. And I talked about this with my therapist. Me acknowledging that the other person has stuff going on too, that is not me invalidating my own feelings. My feelings are valid. I'm allowed to be upset, but I can also understand what the other person is going through. And it was at that point when I talked to her, I was like, I get it. This is really hard for everybody involved right now. What can I do for you right now? How can I help? Do you want water? And like, she was still like in shock and all that. And she said she didn't need anything right then and there. And I said, I get it. Hey, listen, we're going to figure this out. Cops are here. We both have insurance. We're going to figure this out. The Kai from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, I don't know if he would have done that, but I'm proud of myself because the work that I've put into myself and my mental health over the last 2, 3, 4 years, especially the last 2 years, this was a result of that. This was a result of that work that I put into myself. And it was moments like this that I realized, holy cow, I get why I put so much effort into making sure that my mental health is where it needs to be. And like at certain times it feels like why am I doing these exercises? Why am I taking my time and breathing, doing these breathing exercises? Why am I going to therapy every week? Why am I doing this stuff? But then it was moments like this that it all made freaking sense. I was like, oh my God, I get it now. I get it. And it made it all worth it, man. It made it all worth it. And it made me feel good. It was a feeling that I haven't felt in like a very long time. And like, this is not me being selfish. This is not me giving myself a pat on the back. This is just me acknowledging that the path that I'm on is I'm on the right path. This was a pivot for me. This was a big moment for me. This was honestly what I needed. I needed this more than I ever realized. When you have moments like this where you can you feel validated, that's such a big feeling, and not too many people get to have that kind of feeling. And I implore you to understand that if you're putting work into your life, the results of that work that you're putting in, it may not become clear right off the bat, but man, there's going to be times where it will become clear. The Kai from like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago would have been continued to be upset. He would have made this like a very selfish situation in which it's like me. How does this affect me? Me. How does this change my life? How does this affect my life? It's crazy to think that this is where I am in life now. It's crazy to think that this is like where it's come to. And it's an amazing feeling to know that like this is still just the tip of the iceberg. It's just like this like little hurdle that I've jumped over, and I look back, I'm like, I jumped over that. And I see a bunch of hurdles in the future, but man, I did that. And that gives me a lot more confidence leading into the next hurdle and the next hurdle and the next hurdle. Personal growth. It's not often that you get times like this where you can like literally just look at the growth. You can see where point A was and where point B is and where the next point is. Personal growth. I want you to think about your personal growth. I want you to think about situations in which you were tested, like I was tested this past week with this car accident. I want you to think of times that you were tested. And when you were taking that test, when you finished that test, could you see a clear difference into where you were and where you are now? Could you see that personal growth? Could you see the work that you've been putting into your life, into your mental health? Could you see it? Ask yourself that. I want you to think of a time where that happened. And if you can't think of one, it's time that you find one. It's time that you really dig deep and think about your inner growth. Ask yourself questions that you may not have asked yourself before. That was the hardest part for me, man. Like, especially after my most recent breakup, I had to do some inner searching, man. I had to ask myself some questions because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to just sit there and blame the other person. Because, like, what good does that do for me? How does that help my personal growth? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. If I'm going to improve myself, if I'm going to improve and really showcase my growth internally, that means that I had to ask myself some questions that I was always afraid to ask and truly understand myself, my body, my mind. I had to start doing exercises. I had to consistently go to therapy. Can you say that you've done that? If so, good for you. I'm so proud of you. And if not, I'm still very proud of you. But now I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you. I'm going to let myself serve as an example that this shit is hard, but damn, it's worth it. It's so freaking worth it. Personal growth. It's easy to think about personal growth when you look at it from like a physical standpoint. Like when you see, hey, I did 25 sit-ups a day for a month and I saw the difference physically. It's easy to see it when it's a physical thing. But you got to find those benchmarks when it's a mental thing as well. You got to be able to find that. Why am I telling you this story? Why did I tell you this story? I told you this story because I'm hopeful that it is a story that can empower you to find that growth within yourself, or at least initiate that growth within yourself. I'm telling you this story because I am a living example that the person that I was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago is not the person that I am today. I'm telling you this story because you may feel like I can't change. This is who I am. I can't change. You can. You definitely can. It just takes time and effort. And here's the thing, even when you reach that next point, even when you jump over that hurdle like I did, it's not end of story. Like, this is the kind of work that I know for me personally, I have to do for the rest of my life. And so do you. Mental health, taking care of your mental health and finding that strength within yourself, that is an ongoing journey for the rest of your life. There is no end point. There is no destination. It's an adventure. This is exactly why I'm so lucky to have the platform that I have. I have my Instagram and my Facebook and my TikTok and my podcast and my blog. I'm so thankful because I get to tell this story to all of you. And I mean, I have my reasons for telling this story, but I'm hoping that like it means something different to everybody involved. Now, I haven't talked to the person that this whole situation happened with. I think I might send her a letter because I have her address because of like insurance information. I think I'm going to handwrite a letter and say, "Hey, thank you, and I hope that you're okay." Because I just care, and maybe you know what, me caring this much might be my big downfall. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm lucky to have these platforms because I'm able to process these things in real time. Like as I'm telling this story, like I don't have a script. I don't have like I have a guideline. I have a bullet points that I know that I want to hit. But like I'm just processing all of this in real time with all of you. That is my content. That is why I create these videos and these podcast episodes and these blogs, because I am processing all of this just like you. Don't forget, this whole mental health journey, this is still brand new to me. I was just diagnosed with severe depression, generalized anxiety disorder, inattentive ADHD, all this stuff. I was just diagnosed with this 2, 3 years ago. This is all new to me. So I get to process all of this. I got to process a lot of this story with my therapist. This situation happened on Thursday. Thank God actually had my scheduled therapy session the next day on Friday. So that's why I'm telling you this story, because I'm thinking this might be able to help somebody. Somebody listening, somebody watching this right now is going to be like, this is helpful. And that's why I do this. So if you're listening to this story and you're like, Kai, I'm so happy that I heard this story. Thank you for telling me. Please tell me, because I want to make sure that I'm continuing to tell stories that all of you can relate with. I want to know that like I'm not alone, and I want you to know that you're not alone. So please don't hesitate to reach out and be like, "Hey Kai, listen to your podcast recently about that car accident. Just wanted to let you know this is my story. Tell me your story. Tell me your story." And here's the really cool thing, really cool announcement that I have for all of you. Um, I want to be able to hear all of your stories, and I want to be able to connect with as many people as possible. So I started a new thing that's just launching out this week called Heart to Heart with Kai, where you can book time with me. It's a one-on-one 45-minute Zoom video session where you and I can just sit and chat. You tell me your story, I'll tell you mine. I'm not a mental health professional. This is not a therapy session. This is not me giving, any sort of official medical advice. It's not that. It's just you talking with a friend. I want people to know that like I'm here to listen. So if you're interested in that, all you have to do is go to my website. You'll see a link for Heart to Heart with Kai. Click on it and book your time. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that. Just book your time. I want to be able to hear all of your stories, because this community that we have here is such a beautiful community. It's such a beautiful community. And every day I get these DMs and these emails and people telling me their story about ADHD and depression, anxiety, and their stories just mental health stories. Like, I want to hear more of that. I want to be able to ask you questions and have you ask me questions as well. So feel free, book some time with me, heart to heart with Kai. And I also have a message for the person involved. If you just so happened to be listening to this podcast right now, I know you have no idea who I am. At no point during this entire incident were you ever thinking like, "Oh, I'm talking to Kai. He's the Vibe with Kai online." I know that. But if you just so happen to be listening to this, I just want to say thank you. I know that this accident was not an easy thing for you, and there's so many things that I obviously am not going to go into publicly that has to deal with this situation. But like, I hear you, I feel you, I understand what you're going through, and your feelings are valid. They're valid, and I'm rooting for you. And I hope you got to go to the concert. You know which concert I'm talking about. I hope you got to go. But I just wanted to, if you're listening or watching this right now, I just wanted to say thank you. And I hope that you're okay. And just know that like everything's going to be all right. It's all going to be taken care of. We're already in that process already. And I'm thankful for having met you. I'm thankful for the situation because it helped validate my mental health journey. And I hope that it helped you in some way as well, in whatever way that may be. Just know that I'm thinking of you, and I hope that you're okay. So thank you. With that said, my friends, thank you. Thank you so much for listening, for watching all of this. I hope that when you were listening to the story, you were able to find parallels between my story and your story. I hope that all of you listening to this are able to take this story that I told you today and be able to apply it to things that you're going through in your life. I hope that you got something out of this. This is why I tell this story. A couple things I want to remind you of to kind of summarize the main message of this entire story. Number one, empathy. It helps. Empathy is huge. Even when everything is pointing at you not empathizing with another person, that's when empathy is needed the most. Number two, your journey is valid and you're going to be tested. And it's going to be really hard for you to see how the work that you're putting into your mental health, it's going to be really hard to see how it has helped you. But there's going to be times when you're going to jump over that hurdle. There's going to be times where you're going to jump over that hurdle and you're going to look back and be like, damn, I did that. And you're going to see the hurdles in front of you and you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel so much more confidence jumping over those next set of hurdles. Number three, your mental health journey. It's an ongoing journey. It's not a one-time thing. There's no final destination to mental health. It's something that you're going to have to work on every day, every hour, every minute for the rest of your life. And I know it sounds exhausting, but damn, it is worth it, man. It is so worth it because of times when you are tested. It's so worth it, man. With that said, my friends, thank you again so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure that you follow me on all of your favorite social media platforms. Make sure you like and share this. Make sure you tell people about it. You know, I want people to hear this story and to be able to connect with other people just like this. If you want to book some time with me, you can book a heart to heart with Kai. Just visit my website, thevibewithkai.com, where you can book some time with me, where we sit and just have a chat. Just chat about you, chat about me. 45 minutes one-on-one session. Also, if you are somebody that is struggling with their ADHD, if you are an adult that struggles with their ADHD, I have a new guidebook that is out right now. It's currently 50% off. It is a strategy guidebook for adults with ADHD. It is on sale now, so just click the link in the description of this podcast, and or you can go to my website as well, and you can purchase it for 50% off. Digital guidebook for people, adults specifically with ADHD. It's on sale now, so make sure you go get that. If you need some mental health resources, I do have a mental health resource hub that is available on my website as well. You can click there, and if you're not sure where to like start when it comes to beginning or continuing your mental health journey, there's a mental health resource hub on my website where you can get a lot of different information for a lot of different things. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I really do hope that you got something out of this. As always, much love, good vibes, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.